start off and say that you do not have to go to any family gathering that you do not want to go to, that you do not have the capacity to go to. Hey, I'm Jen, I'm a certified life coach, and I'm here to help you get through the holidays. The holiday season is notorious for family drama, and I get it. I totally get it. You know, I grew up having that like dysfunctional, functional family type vibe. I was lucky enough to also have parents who loved me, but didn't have the best way of showing it. I'm going to touch upon ethnic families as well if you are going through that, because I think it is a little bit more nuanced than your typical, what you would see stereotypically as a white family gathering during Thanksgiving. There's a little bit more, I think, guilt that is associated with people of color when they go to family gatherings, and especially if you are Asian, because that's what I am. I know that experience of feeling like you need to gear up for listening and respecting your family members' opinions, especially your parents' opinions. But all in all, I think we're all humans, and I hope that all of you guys can take something away from this. So first things first, like before I started this, I said you do not have to go. If you are in a place where your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health is very fragile, and you're starting to rebuild those good boundaries and all those things, then it might not be the time for you to go and spend time with your family during the holidays. That might be hard. You might be going through all the feelings of like, oh, maybe I should go, and like I feel so guilty that I should be spending more time with my family, and like, it should be a good value of mine, whatever it means to be a good daughter, good son, good child, whatever, but you do not have to do that. If your intention is to have genuine connection with your family, to build a better relationship, you're not going to be able to do so from a place where you are going in already defensive, already feeling afraid, already being anxious. Especially if you have sustained trauma and other complex nuances to your relationships within family members, just having everyone there can bring you into a fight or flight state, into that nervous system response, and you're not going to be able to be yourself. Not being yourself and being in an environment where other people aren't necessarily their best selves either is not the best time to start rebuilding healthy relationships. That being said, if you do have a decent relationship with your family and you want to go, you want to spend time with your family, but you're just getting kind of in your head, then keep watching because I have some tips for that. All in all, this can be broken down into 3 steps to help you get through the holiday season and any family event, really. The first is to watch your thoughts and connect with your intention. Like I kind of already mentioned, if you have the intention to connect genuinely with your family and your thoughts about it is that, well, you're already going to have to be defensive. Your mom's going to say something about your job. Your dad's going to say something about, your future or your partner. You're, single or you're married. It's like, and you don't want to deal with all these people asking you, when are you going to have kids? Or like, when are you going to, get married, or like all these things. Then prepare yourself. Notice where you may be projecting your own insecurities, your own stresses, your own ideas of what society is telling you that you should do, that you may be telling yourself, even though you reject it, right? Even if you're like, well, I don't want to have kids right now, or I don't care about having a partner, or I enjoy doing what I'm doing, or I'm okay with being unemployed, but then because you've grown up in the societal conditioning of you need to have a job, you need to be making a certain amount of money, you have to have a relationship by this age, and you have to have kids by this age, right? And you feel like you're behind on that life stage yourself, and you're kind of like already in that stress by yourself. Just notice that can be amplified when you're in these situations with people that you care about, who inevitably you think about their opinions and can be affected by them. Check in on, why are you really wanting to see your family? Why do you want to go? Why do you want to attend this event? What are you hoping to get out of it? Because no one's forcing you into a plan. No one's forcing you into a car to go to this event. You are doing that to yourself if you're telling yourself, I have to go, I need to be there, everyone expects me to be there. Even if other people are telling you that, you don't have to live for other people. So if you are there, just know that no one forced you to be there. Now, obviously, this might be different if you're like under 18, living with your family, but assuming that you are a young adult or an adult that lives alone, away from your family, then yeah, no one can force you to go. Even if you have an estranged relationship with your family, and they're guilt tripping you to go, you don't have to go. So really check in with yourself, because there had to be some reason that was big enough for you to pull the trigger on getting on that flight, getting in the car, and going to see your family. And you cared enough about that, more so than the risk of being told certain things, having family drama and whatever. Now, if you do decide that you want to go, also watch out for your assumptions. These assumptions be like, oh, my family never understands me. They just don't have my back. They never support me. If you think, oh, why would anything ever be different? Or you're going under the assumption of like, well, maybe they've changed and like whatever. Try to not go in there with any expectation of how anyone else is going to be, and really focus on how you want to show up. Knowing what your intention is going to really help you set those boundaries from the get-go, so that you're not subjecting yourself to be pulled into situations that you don't want to be pulled in, to be draining your energy in spaces that you don't want to be, and making sure that you get what you came there for. If you have the capacity to be more caring about certain people's issues, certain people's life perspectives, if you want to be more open to having discussions, or, I know a big thing is getting through like political debates and talking about what's going on in the news, what's going on in the world, and people's different perspectives and not agreeing on it. If you have the capacity for it, determine what is your capacity limit and know when to stop. That goes into part number 2 of how you can protect your boundaries during the holiday season and make it a more pleasant experience for you, which is pick and choose your battles. I know for me, like the biggest thing that always comes up because I'm an entrepreneur is like, how much money are you making? How many clients do you have? I also have a partner. It's like, are you guys going to get married? Is he the right person? Like blah, 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 blah. You should have kids. I get that every single time I see my parents. That being said, because I know that those might be things that come up, and because I've done the work to kind of tear away the assumptions about like, they don't see me, or they don't understand me, or they're just like, being unsupportive. I know that my parents could be coming from a perspective of they want the best for me. They want what for them success looks like, and they're projecting maybe that onto me. And it has nothing to do with me when they ask me those questions, when they are trying to make assumptions. It has everything to do with them. And for me, my intention is to just build a genuine connection with them where they can see where I'm coming from, right? I can explain my perspective if I want to explain my perspective, or I don't have to answer if I don't want to answer, because they're going to be able to believe whatever they want to believe anyways, right? So I can give them my thoughts and my opinions on how my life is going. I can tell them kind of where I'm going with things, where I have a plan, where I don't have a plan, where I don't give a shit about having a plan. And I kind of leave it at that. However they want to receive that is on them, not on me. Remember that you are not responsible for how anyone else thinks about you or how anyone else feels about you. Whether or not your parents think that you are a complete failure, or whether your parents think that you are the golden child and that everyone should be like you. You don't have to take that personally. You don't have to take anything personally, good or bad, as long as you know who you are and where you stand. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Know where your standpoint is in your life and who you are going into it, so that you're not being pulled into discussions where your opinion is trying to be swayed and trying to be pulled in a certain direction that you don't want to go. Understand that drama is going to be inevitable, and we don't even have to label it as drama. It's literally just a human experience where you have different people, different minds, different life experiences, different traumas, all coming together to spend some time for maybe a meal, or maybe even an extended amount of time. Maybe you're there for a week. Everyone has their own individual drama too, and sometimes it can be nice to escape by really putting your fingers in other people's shit. People might not do this consciously, but if you know this going in, again, coming from the perspective that the only person you can control and the only person that you can really have any expectations of is yourself, can help you choose what you want to get involved in and what you do not. And this includes just sitting and listening to your family members vent. You can also help advocate for yourself by making the expectations more clear. If someone starts venting, someone starts complaining, someone starts asking questions, whether it's about you or somebody else, and you want to get involved, you can also ask them what their intention is. How do you want to be supported if you're talking to me about your recent divorce? If you're talking about how this person has been a bitch to you at work? How you're telling me about, whatever work drama is going on? How do you want to be supported? What do you expect from me? Right? Do you want me to sit here and listen to you talk and just hear what you have to say and hold space for that? Do you want me to give you advice? And just setting up that expectation so that you know how to utilize your energy, and you also know what you're signing up for, so you can say no or yes. Learn how to set proper boundaries here. And boundaries are not something that you tell the other person to do or not do to make you feel better. It's something that you do for yourself so that you can protect your own energy. What this means is that if you're going through like body image issues, for example, you have food anxiety, you're anxious about your parents or family members, whoever, commenting about your weight, what you're wearing, what your hair color is, what your job is, anything like that, right? Then it is up to you to set that boundary of, hey, I don't want you to bring up anything about my weight. Please do not talk about the clothes that I'm wearing. Please do not talk about my body in any way. Do not make comments on how much I'm eating or not eating. And typically when people think about boundaries like that, they just leave it at that and there's no like consequence, right, for the other person, which makes it so that they don't really care if they break those boundaries or not. And it's not so much as a consequence for them as it is what you're just going to do because you know yourself well and you don't have to make it mean anything negative about the other person who may be breaking your boundaries. You can have love for your family members and also step away. So in that situation, if they did make comments about it and you felt uncomfortable because, you said that, please don't do this, it's not telling them, oh, I'm going to feel uncomfortable if you do that and that means you don't care about me. That's making an assumption on their side. It's, I'm going to not respond, right? Or I'm going to leave the room or whatever it may be. But this is what takes you from being kind of a victim to your circumstances and just kind of having to take whatever comes your way into being a creator of your life and being somebody who can be empowered to live their life the way that they want to and protect their own peace by saying, if this thing does happen, if my boundary is broken, then I'm going to do this to make sure that I'm protected. This goes for the same thing of whether it's your career, whether it is relationships. I think those are just the biggest things that come up during a family experience. Or even just like a friendship experience, people wanting to know about your relationships, people want to know about your money and career and your future plans, blah, 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 your body and your weight. Set the boundaries of what you do not want to be talked about, and then also you can give suggestions of what you do want to talk about. And of course, know when to leave. I remember last year during Thanksgiving, there was a lot of arguing going on, a lot of yelling, and I just had to literally leave out of the front door and go for a walk outside. I had my partner with me, so we were able to go for a walk together, which was nice, but I needed to clear my head and not be in that space for a little bit so that I could calm down. I noticed myself, like my heartbeat racing, me feeling like kind of shaky, and I could feel that fight or flight response coming in. So that's another tip for you, is to understand when your body is in that fight or flight, that nervous system safety. If your brain starts to shut down, if you start to feel like completely emotionally numb, that could be a sign that you're in overwhelm and you are in fight, flight, or freeze mode. If you feel like you need to start apologizing and people pleasing and all that stuff, again, trauma response. Get yourself to a safe space where you can cool down, get back into a calmer mode for your body where you can feel safe to proceed as you, and then evaluate from there what you want to do. Remember that the goal for this is not to be perfect, is not to try to avoid drama of all sorts, but is to be able to have your own back and know what you need in these situations so that you can have the experience that you intend on having. That goes into my third and final piece of advice here, is to make time for yourself. Whether you're literally there for one evening and just having a meal, or 2 days, or an entire week, make sure that you are prioritizing your own inner peace. And that could look like going out for a walk, doing a workout, doing some meditation before you go to dinner, taking the pieces of what I said in this video of setting up your intentions and your expectations for yourself and your own behavior, what you want to talk about, setting those boundaries ahead of time, or throughout the time that you're with your family, making sure that you are having space to be alone and reconnect with yourself. That could also literally look like calling a friend. You don't actually have to be physically alone and mentally alone throughout the whole thing, but being able to have that own support for yourself. I know we covered quite a few things in this video, so if you have any questions or you want more clarity, go ahead and put it in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to get back to you. I hope you have a joyful holiday season, and I'll see you in the next video.